know what that thing is.
Whatever it is, we don't need it.
How do you remember where all the bolts go? You don't!
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Forsberg.
And I'm Dylan Hughes.
And welcome to the Fix It Flat 50th Anniversary C10 build. Well, the truck made its first and final drive.
Yeah, right. For now.
Yeah. Backed it in, shut her down. It's the last time that motor's gonna run this chassis. Yes, and but yeah, it's cool, it's fun, it's great. It's all together, which is what we wanted to start with, like a nice complete truck. But we are gonna go through the whole thing, tear the body off, and just get that thing down to the chassis and see what we're really working with.
Yeah, so first things first, we'll probably just go right ahead and yank that cab off of it, right? So Nate jumped under there with some penetrating oil, went ahead and blasted those bolts for us because they're probably gonna be a little sticky.
You know they never came off.
Yeah, never, ever. So first things first, cab off, bed off. We're gonna drop those guys off. Our buddy Dave down in San Diego, he's gonna make them all nice and pretty for us.
Yeah, so that's gonna be rad since we can take the actual body off the frame, put that in the trailer. We got some dollies, we're gonna roll that thing out, and then we were gonna have the frame here so we can start playing with the suspension, the drivetrain, pull the engine out, pull the transmission out. We got a whole new engine on the way. We got a nice transmission from Gearstar coming, and also the suspension we're still working on, waiting on those pieces to arrive.
So a little bit of work ahead of us, but I think that we're gonna have a solid day's worth of work here. So should we get started?
Yeah, that's my favorite part, just taking everything apart.
Tear it apart.
Making a big mess.
Who's gonna be labeling bags with bolts?
Not me.
Not me. Going up!
I'm really glad we raised the car to take the windshield. We're stupid.
Anywhere over here.
Okay, first thing we're gonna do is pull the body off of the frame, leave the motor in, drivetrain in. It'll be easier to take that apart with the body out of the way. So I am draining the fluids though, just getting that going because it takes a minute to let them drain out and clean up any mess for later. But yeah, just because we're gonna start disconnecting things, especially like the cooling system, because that attaches to the body and then to the engine. So anything that's connecting to us, we gotta disconnect.
It's been on there for 50 years.
No, and it's really on there. I win, haha.
Yep. Now we're draining.
Shots up to date?
Oh yeah. We get stabbed by metal all the time, so you gotta keep us up to date, dude. Brand new!
Check it out!
Yeah, done. Woo. Those are steel fender liners. Nowadays they're only plastic, much lighter. This is how many bolts it took to get those out. Hey, what's going on down there? Is that a tire?
Oh man, that's a nice feeling. Oh, there it goes.
I don't know what that thing is.
Whatever it is, we don't need it. Chris, now we can actually see what we're doing. It looks a lot easier. My first time working on one of these. My first time really even working on anything of this type, which is surprising since we've worked on a lot of cars over the years, but no like old 70s American like hot rods yet. It's been on my list for a long time.
Yeah. Pretty much both of us only have metric sockets in our toolbox. So whatever size these are, it's about a 13, it's a little tight. But,
It's good. 13s, 15s, it's all the same.
Oh. Free funnel! All right, that thing's brand new. I don't know, is this how this comes off? Is that it? There it is.
How do you remember where all the bolts go? You don't!
So we got the whole front end blown off about as much as we can. We have to wait to get the refrigerant pulled out of this thing. So we're gonna leave all that attached, move on to the cab, and try and get the body off. Yeah, I really wanna get this thing out of the way like you were saying, but you know, we gotta wait for that. And yeah, so throttle cable, shifter linkage, just any sort of wiring, anything that's attaching the cab to the frame. Pull off. Wow.
Ready? These are the back bolts that hold in the cab. So basically they thread up into the cab itself. The first two were through bolted, which means that I had to climb to the inside of the car and hold the backside with a wrench while Chris blasted the nut off the bottom. So luckily these ones were threaded up into the chassis, which makes it easy. You just pull it right out. So that should be, I think, the only 4 bolts holding the cab onto the frame, but I'll go over there and double check just in case. Chris is working on the bed bolts, so we should have this thing pretty well looking like just a frame only here in a couple minutes. Forsberg Power Stance made its debut in Drift Garage. About season 1, that was before I worked with you. That's about a 77-inch stance. That's pretty impressive.
Or I could just stand like a normal person right here and do the same job. This is easier.
Here, I'm here for moral support. Go team.
Let's just cut it. It's literally 3 wires. And when we have the body off, we'll just run a nice fresh chassis harness all the way to these. Oh, I'm sorry. There's 4. Reverse light, almost forgot. I don't know why we're being all careful. It's a 50-year-old truck. That's the whole point. We're replacing everything. I think we could pull the bed off.
All right, going up.
Bring her all the way up. There's our chassis loom right here. Look at those beautiful wires. It's all held together. All 5 of them. I'm telling you, man, I think I nailed it on the gas level. Baby was on fumes for 2 days straight.
6.5 drops.
There was literally nothing coming out of the tank.
That's amazing.
It was idling pretty low on the way in. It was like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that's a good explanation of why.
No way. Did we literally run this thing out of gas? Oh my God.
Perfect timing.
This is my greatest accomplishment ever. I'm putting this on my Wikipedia page.
So you saw us jam the bolts out of the bottom of this thing, so we lowered it back onto the ground, and now we're just gonna grab the cab, grab the bed, give them a little bit of a shake, make sure they're loose, roll it forward, and we're gonna lift that bed off by the pinch seams with the hydraulic lift, so it should be fairly easy. Let's give her a push. There she goes.
All right, look at that. Pretty stellar.
Keep pushing. Come on. You're crashing! Oh my God! That's on wheels.
So that was not the hardest thing I've ever done. It wasn't bad. It was pretty easy. It was annoyingly the first time I've ever really played with a 70s vehicle like that, pulling the whole body off the frame. You know, like I love hot rods, I love old trucks and all that, but I've never actually gotten to take one down this far.
Yeah, and honestly, me either. And I would say that probably the most difficult, you know, contraption on this entire thing was what? It was the speedo cable, just getting it out of the frame. It was ridiculous. It was down here, both of us were fighting with it with 4 tools up in there. It was weird, but we conquered in the end.
Outside of that, super straightforward. You know, all 12 wires got snipped. Yeah, and you know, there was only what, 8 bolts on the bed, 4 on the cab, and of course there's obviously a lot of other linkages. Next stage is stripping down the cab, stripping down the frame, getting it all down to just the actual little bits, you know, so we can send it off to paint and powder coat and get it all stripped and all the rust, surface rust off, We might even do a little reinforcement on the frame.
Yeah, I think a little bit of welding on the back of that thing, get it boxed up a little bit better, because it's got that old C-channel frame from the 70s. So we're gonna put like that modern V8 in it. So I think it needs just to be a little bit stronger. So get this thing looking nice and clean, nice and fresh, everything all cleaned up, and I think it'll be looking pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, that was the one thing that we saw about this frame was that it was super clean, very straight, and no major accidents, no major rust. So we want to actually restore the factory frame, to the best that we can. And it does have that little like C channel, that little C notch in it for, it looks like the guy wanted to drop it maybe a little much. So we might actually reinforce that instead of just the little bolting that it has, maybe weld that out now that we have it all apart, and then get it powdered over top.
Yeah, no, I think so too. But I can't wait to see this thing in powder, and I can't wait to see these bodies and chassis looking a lot better, and solid day.
Yeah, not bad. You wanna go for a drive?
Yeah.
Should hop in. I think this thing still runs.
Yeah, that's what I heard. All clear. Whoa, whoa.
Oh, whoa, drift car!
It steers terribly. turn right.
All right, we're out of here. Later, guys.